What up, what up, what up? Good morning and welcome back. Welcome back to another live session. As usual, for those of you tuning in on YouTube, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. And if you're a new viewer, consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, as I'm saying, remember the disclaimer. Remember that day trading is risky business. Also, be careful of fake accounts. Be careful of fake advertisements as well. Remember, there's a lot of people who are pretending to be the lead members here in the community. Sadly, there's a lot of impersonators, scammers. We will never message you first. On top of that, remember copy trading does not work. A quick look at the gap scan here, and we have ticker symbol AZI, which is leading the way. I am going to go to single screen, however, so I don't forget this side of the screen on. But a nice look at the scanners here. And ACI is the only one that is really kind of holding up well and kind of looking good in terms of fitting the criteria of a stock that's up a good amount, a good price range, good volume. And there's also some news on this one too. So let's get ready to lock in here. Let me come to single screen. There we go. How are we looking? First, I'm going to zoom out. It seems like over the last couple of days, we've kind of had a couple of high points. Daily chart. It's also had a couple of splits too. Oh, yeah, this looks interesting. Um, we've been selling off, and this is where we could potentially curl back up, which is typical for the charts we've been seeing in this type of market environment, right? We haven't really been seeing blue skies, all-time highs. In fact, it's a little bit more rare to see a stock be in that type of position. So I guess this is typical. And over the last couple of days, if we come back to the 1 minute chart, I'm going to map out a couple of high points here. So we've gotten a high point for at 235 for today. And as of the last couple of days, let's get rid of this one here. As of the last couple of days, we had in pre-market 250 and a little higher than that at 287 plus or minus 288, 287. So it's definitely been a little active, being that there's a good headline today. It's kind of interesting that the volume is like somewhat the same, right? I don't think we've had this headline the last 2 days in a row or 3 days in a row. So I'd say it's not a great sign, but it's still early. We're still in pre-market. We have the open, which, obviously we can gain more volume. So hopefully we're able to, push through and get over $3. Can we get to 354 if we're lucky? It's going to be the key here for an uptrend and a continued move going. So There's 7 minutes to go. This is a $2 stock. The biggest problem I've been having is not using enough size early in the strongest moves. If this stock is good, I have to start off with 2,000 shares, the moment I recognize that it is good, instead of the nonsense of small size I've been using. So that for me is going to really be the biggest adjustment into today. Other than that, I want to continue to pay attention for the key patterns, key support levels. I want to keep my eye on certain breakout levels. There's my alarm for screen recording, which I'll promptly do here. Remind me later about that update. There's an update for OBS there. Another beautiful day. It's today Friday. It feels like the days are just flying. You come in on Monday, the next day is Friday. Is how it feels. Time flies. It waits for no one but itself, time after time. That's a nice song, by the way. Anyhows, in the next 6 minutes, I want to also remember that, you know, the quote that we mentioned the last 2, 3 days, right? Which is that, let me look at it actually here. Your desire for success is greater than your fear of failing. Something that I have to remind myself of here every day at the open, to remind myself of the goal here. As we know, the quicker we're able to make adjustments, the faster we'll be where we need to be. So the mission is very clear. The aim for the day is very clear. That is to identify the strong stock and take the best possible setups to position ourselves to be successful, along with applying some share size. So we'll need to pay attention to our candlesticks. We'll need to pay attention to our higher time frames, and we'll need to be willing to take on the trades. So we're going to accept the risk, and we're going to put forth a good effort here. We got 4 minutes, one stock on watch. It's a bit of a slower day in terms of the watch list. We're not seeing a ton of stocks. So, yeah, just one more look here, the gap scan. Again, we're using Day Trade Dash. This is the platform we've been using now for scanners and charting. The charts are pretty good in my opinion. I've been so used to Thinkorswim, TD Ameritrade, Charles Schwab charts, and by switching to this platform, I didn't feel like I missed anything. It's in fact it's a little bit more smooth. It's like a mixture of E-Trade Pro and Thinkorswim in one. You guys know Thinkorswim is like super laggy when you're trying to like load the chart and stuff. This is like so real time. You grab, you pull, it's right away, instant. So yeah, it's been a good platform here so far. So good, no issues. Looking forward to a good day here in the next 3 minutes. NRXS. Let me take a quick look. Actually, I have this one up on my other screen. I'll pull in the level 2 as well. I don't know, we'll see what it does, but for now, just sticking to the one. Let's also make sure to do this. There's a 2-minute warning. So in terms of like looking a little closer at this one right now, we got highs at 35, and we're pulling back here lows of 18. It's been in a steady incline really since 8:22 a.m. We've had some pullbacks, but it's been holding up. We held up the VWAP and it kept going here. So we'll see how well this one does. For those of you in the chat room, there might be some background noise. I'm not in the office, and my siblings are actually home here for the holiday. So I did talk to them. Hopefully, it's not too bad, but I don't. I over the next week, I don't know if I will trade from the office though, because my setup there kind of needs some work in terms of software. I'll have to think about what I want to do for that. If I do decide to go, I'll have to like update some things. So there's 30 seconds. I kind of don't know what to expect from this stock. It could be good, it could be nothing. We'll have to wait and see what we get. Not bad so far. Still early though. I'm not impressed by the first minute of any day of any stock. I need to see continuation. What I'm not sure is if I want to use size right now. Let's see how it does at the pre-market highs. Maybe I can start, but okay, I think I'll start. So far so good. And I'll okay, oh wow, wow, okay. I'm gonna definitely look at the next pullback here. Well, never mind. It's going halting up. I did not expect it to be this strong, but okay. I was expecting like a slower moving stock, but it seems like it's pace and power. And I did take a small trade at 38, but didn't hold it long at all. Sold for like 3 cents, literally. Wow. The good news is that it's really strong. The bad news is that it's so strong that I'm not really in there. I'd say we did have two possible entries, a baby pullback and the original open over 21. Well, I'm definitely interested in a dip and rip here. NRXS NRXS could be interesting, but I don't know. There's definitely a little bit of risk there. Resumption, 2 minutes, 15 seconds. By the way, let me do my due diligence here. Um, AZI halted up. You just sometimes just don't know, you know? Is it going to be a slower stock, a quicker one? What we don't want to see though is it open and then halt down. That's the last thing we need to see. And, and if it does, hopefully it's a tight halt. If it does halt down, it needs to be a tight halt to where we can recover on a flag. Other than that, you know, can we hold up? Of course, it's possible it could go all the way to 3 right here, the way how it's moved already. So we got 50 seconds to resumption. We got 25 seconds. It is showing a little higher. Hopefully, we get a good pullback, and the key will be to be accurate here. It's really strong. It's a hyper scalping kind of a stock. We're not really moving slowly at all here, so got to adjust. Highs are at 16. I want to be careful of pullbacks because we're pretty extended. We went from 220 to 316, almost $1 a share. It looks like it might just keep. It's hard to say here. I'm not going to use size at the highs here. I think we are a little extended. The halt up is at 63. You know, the deal was for 350, but it's, you know, Sometimes you still kind of can't really just buy blindly. And if we do get to 350, will it stall out, and kind of not go anymore? We're only green 270, but it's a good start nevertheless. We only got like 3 trades on it. One with size of 2000. Right here for me, it's no man's land. I need to wait because it's just too risky. It could end up holding tightly, but again, we went from 220 to 320. I just can't buy this yet. I need a little bit more confirmation. There's a new candle on the bigger time frame. Definitely seems like we're getting a 5-minute pullback here for now. The key will be for this stock to hold up this dip wherever it does end up being. It needs to hold this dip and then try to make a new high. That'll be pretty healthy. Looking to be patient. Don't need to rush the rush. The 1-minute candle to make the new high right there didn't really do much. Just waiting patiently. The good news is that the consolidation has been tight for the most part, and there's a new candlestick coming in 2 minutes on a bigger time frame. So hopefully it continues to hold up and we don't sell off here. Looking to stick to my intuition and be patient here. I think it's bottomed out. It's hard to say for sure, but I think it's bottomed out. Well, we see 315, 325, 330. Okay, it's coming down a bit. So we're seeing a bit of a 5-minute pullback. So we weren't bottomed out. So I'm going to be patient and watch the red to green if we get one, I hope, over time. So I thought we were going to hold, so I kind of built more of a position. I didn't take full size though, nothing close to it, just in case, because I know there's a chance it could still come down, right? So I'm willing to watch the red to green here to see what we get. If there's a red to green, I hope again. It's still early, I'd like to think, so I'm just gonna continue to be patient and continue to watch the setups play out. Seems like it might have been a pretty quick turnaround. It doesn't look like I'll get a chance to get in with size there. I kind of like a right back up. I was hoping for a consolidation. I did take a starter again, but it, again, not really got, didn't really get the chance. So it looks like it's going to come down to breakout trades, which are going to be a little bit more tough. Hopefully there's an early pullback at least. That could maybe work. But have to make sure we're not retesting the lows. I'd say this one has been a little slippery so far, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm going to try a position here in case it's not going to pull back. But I have to say, it's a bit of a riskier trade for sure. We had 07, we're back to 02. I'm going to cut it flat. I could try that trade again though. What's the time? 52. Can we see 10? It's hard for me to hold here because, it's just not in where I'd want to be in. This is this is a tough one, I'd say. 5-minute candlestick making the new high. All I'm asking for is one clean chance to be in. It definitely looks bullish to keep going. The entry is just the problem here for me. Getting in a place where I'm trying not to be too scalpy because we're kind of churning here, like 305, 310. It's hard to say if we'll still get more pullback opportunities. It's kind of looking like it wants to go. And I want to be careful because it's been, 313 to 305. I don't want to take the high and then be out at 305, especially with size. But it definitely is looking like it could go. It's, the breakout trades, man. If the volume is high enough, it can make sense, but the risk is definitely there. I'm gonna try it. What's it gonna be? Oh my god. Why did I try it? Why? And that's more risk than I thought too. 97. Wow. Well, it's not a good day here to this point. We're flat. And the stock is back down. Bro, the breakout trades, man. Holy smokes. Breakout trades are brutal. They are rough. As rough can be. It looked good, but, sometimes looks aren't everything. Ay, ay, ay. Fooled me once, fooled me twice. That I lost 5 times straight on the breakout trades in that situation the last 3 days. All 5 of those trades were losing trades. Lesson learned. And then you know what? Here's how it goes, right? I'm not gonna take it the next time, and the next time is where it's gonna fly. Sadly, it's how the market loves to operate. And I might get stopped out here of this trade. Yep. Okay. Not good. So the double bottom, I'm gonna get stopped out. Well, not a great day. And of course, in this trade, I have the size I would have wanted the first time around, where it went up so quickly, I didn't get a chance to add. So we're making new lows. The VWAP is down at 56. The stock could be finished. It was a pretty good stock, but short-lived and a few opportunities. If we're lucky, it gives a red to green here, but if not, it could be backside. So 4,000 shares, 81 average, out at 68. A little more than a 10-cent loss there. I don't know if it has what it takes to curl back up. Do I want to try it again? What was the low? Pretty low. Not the fill I'm looking for here. Let's see. Ah, you son of a gun. You son of a gun. We could see a red to green is how it's looking. So I basically got chopped out of that trade. Maybe my stop a little too tight. But we had a good 15 cents below our lows. It's definitely in like, not out of the woods here if it is going to curl, but we're up a little off the very bottom. So we'll see if we'll see if it's able to do anything, but I definitely would say the pullback has been, quite sizable versus the highs. We've had 325 versus 264. In this situation here, I'm trying not to. Now I'm gonna not take as much size because if I do and it's if Titanic's again, then I'm gonna kind of really be at a max loss day. So trying to do some damage control if it is to at least curl back up, and then if there's another setup over the highs. But looking to diamond hands here if we're able to hold up the support. Maybe we can at least see $3 again. The new 5-minute candlestick is a minute and some change. Will it give more opportunities? If it does, I feel pretty confident, but some of the trades earlier, they came so fast that, if you're not in on that halt going up, that big green candle, you miss some good opportunities quickly. GANX, is there something there? Here, let me see. It's not the best daily chart, but it's moving up a little bit, I suppose. So just watching and waiting. It could be a while before we see something, whether up or down. So just waiting. So we had two losses. One on the breakout trade in at 14 on green unrealized about 5-6 cents, seeing 19.20, and then stopping out at 98 on a quick move back down. Right here is a big level. So no good on that attempt for the 5-minute candlestick to make the new high. Watching and waiting. Watching and waiting. Mm-mm-mm. The key will be the 5 minute candlestick, making the new high, and then retesting the $3 level. Big levels here. Not not the ad I wanted, but okay. It is looking kind of dicey. I'm not gonna lie. Am I getting cold feet here? But there's this thing of like not wanting to stop out before it breaks down, because then you can kind of be out prematurely. Well, we'll just see it through. We'll see it through. Respect our stop loss in a trade and not give in to the hyper scalper mind of seeing some red on the tape and wanting to cut the position. When hyper scalping, the moment some red hits the tape, it's like you're thinking, "Hey, time to jump out." But when holding longer, you kind of gotta just watch the levels. Just watching and waiting, watching and waiting. Cannot give in to the inner scalper and cutting the trade for no reason. Does it have what it takes? The key will be over 390 or 290 rather. Over 290 is the key. Diamond hands here. Looking to wait 10, 15, 20 minutes, however long it takes, assuming the stock holds up. Looking to watch for the move over 290. AZI, will it whisper into my ears the sweet songs of new highs? Does it have what it takes? Does it have what it takes to break over 290 in a strong surge? Does it have what it takes to rip to the moon? Will my diamond hands pay off once again? Will the diamond hands pay off? I don't think short. I don't know. I don't. I'd say I don't. I don't think short sellers should be too aggressive to this point, based off of how we came down. Like we came down very quickly off that retest of 320. It's like getting to the time to really go short in such a high risk area, you know. So it seems like the stock, in my opinion, this is not anything super 100% proof, but I think it needed to pull back to regain some, to fill some orders, to regain some buying, to refill the clip. So I expect to see 315. So unless I get stopped out of this trade, diamond hands. It's the only bad thing compared to hyper scalping is you're gonna have to wait some time to see what it does. With the quick trades, it's boom, 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 like that first green candle. You're kind of back up in 2 seconds. Now we have to wait 10,000 years to see 315 again. What will it be? What will it be? AZI, do you have what it takes to liberate this nonsense of a red day, which we should have been green? So we'll definitely need to see some high volume once it gets at like 290 to push through. And then from there, we'll see if it's able to go. KB. KB. Is KB still alive here today? I can sense this move coming. KB, where are those bulls? Can we see through 290 here? And I've pushed to 315, which should be very quickly following if it does go through. Whisper into my ears. What will it be? Waiting patiently. I've stopped out at my break even there. We're kind of back down very quickly. And this is still before my actual stop, which isn't good, but we kind of rejected the level there like way too easily. We got to 85, which isn't quite the 290 resistance, and we kind of got punched in the mouth. So not loving that sign right there. I could still be out too early though, but we barely got to 85 and kind of a little underwhelming with the volume that I thought would have been able to push in. It's really up at like 93. It's a very early rejection off the red to green. Well, it's not a great day, that's for sure. And just a little tough, you know. The trade that we did get, the red to green happened. I mean, compare this red to green here to this red to green, right? To this consolidation, like it's 20 minutes here versus 1 minute here. So I only had one position, and you know, kind of got a good trade out of that, but didn't get to build any size. And the second test broke down where I did take some size. 600 shares versus 4,400 shares or 4,000 shares, somewhere there. So even though I made more sense the first trade, you know, of course, with a smaller loss with more size, we lost 13 cents in that trade versus maybe about a 20-cent winner, which, you know, again, just 600 shares is not going to equate. But I'm out maybe a little too early here. It's possible. The volume is definitely a little lower, but INFY, which was mentioned, here's the bad thing with this stock, right? Like, yes, the first green candle was a good move, but I'd say it's a little hard to capture. So when we remove that candlestick, the stock has been downtrending since the initial big green candlestick. So we had 1 minute of solid move, and then it's like we've had a consolidation, which did make a new low, and then a false breakout here. The 5 minute setup could still curl back up, but definitely it's been quite some time. We haven't really had a great move, in my opinion. We want to see more of these green candlesticks sprinkled throughout this kind of consolidation at the very least. You know, a nice curl off the lows if it comes back down. So I'm out early, but hopefully it still is able to go at least. That way, you know, there's at least back over 3. We were in the trade for a good 15 minutes, 10 minutes maybe. If I have to, let's see. Uh, yeah, we're in there 10:02. We did sell some and bought back from 10:02 to 10:22. It's been about 20 minutes there for me. Sidelines for me right now. Looks like Big Steve and some others were trading INFY. Hopefully they got some gains out of that one. So if it does come up, you know, I could try the breakout again, but the breakouts have been 0 for 5 the last couple of days. For those of you watching on YouTube, be sure to hit the thumbs up. If you're a new viewer, also consider subscribing to the channel. Here's some selling pressure coming in. Well, a Titanic right here. It looks like it will. Did not have what it took to curl back up. Again, for me, that the way how we came up here on this green candle, like we kind of had what we needed, and it just struggled, man. Struggled to rip through the highs of 90. I think this one is officially cooked. So the key, in hindsight, the key was to capture this first green candle into the halt up and then basically stop trading. We were never going to get a second leg. So the day only had 2 minutes of, you know, which is kind of tough to say. 2 solid minutes of great moves to then backside pretty much. Jeez Louise. In terms of the mental state of mind, I feel pretty good. I'd say we took the best possible trades we could take earlier. It's just, a little tougher because you're still kind of watching to see if we're going to get something out of the stock, if it's going to be a quicker stock, a slower moving stock. We kind of took off so aggressively, didn't really get a chance to get in anywhere, um, and hold really. The one trade we had early was on this baby pullback right here, and we sold for like a 3 cent gain. So not good, not good. Time, it's 10:33. I can hang out for another 30 minutes here on the stream, and if nothing else comes up, I'll be on the sidelines. But if something good does come up, I can start small and try to get into a rhythm. LACR from 32 to 36 cents. This actually gave a nice move earlier, lighter volume, but volume did come in 945. Being that I'm showing up to it now, I'll have to wait for a good setup. Don't want to chase the highs. We got 36.73 for high of day right now. Definitely want to be careful here showing up to this one this late. That last pullback definitely looked good. Nice bottoming wick and curled up for new highs. Right here, we're kind of seeing a 3 bar play again. Our candlestick is much more young though. $36.6. Just got to make sure we're not rejecting the highs here. It's a good push though initially, 38. Can we see 40 out of it? There's 38.5. What's the time? I think it definitely looks good. There's definitely some selling pressure here though. I'm gonna cut that trade a little prematurely, but I think there could be some risk here in the higher time frame. So back out. I think this thing should be showing my live position over here. I hope. There might be a 5 minute pullback. In which case, there could be a good setup here, assuming that it's able to hold up, bottom out and hold up at some point. The VWAP is kind of quite low, but we'll see. Mm, okay. Maybe not a 5 minute pullback. It's up very quickly, very fast. It's up very quickly, very fast. So that was a pretty strong red to green. I'm not in. Didn't anticipate it at all. The 1 minute candlestick to make the new high was pretty much 37. Not bad. If it pulls back, what are the odds that we go to 35 again? Okay, that was pretty late. Damn. I'm going to try it here, 40, 80, to see how it does. If it keeps going. This is just a tough place to try to take a trade, though. I'm not going to lie. It's definitely super chasing it. Man, that was a good red to green. In hindsight, could have been in, but just in the curl back up. It was into the previous low of 35, previous high of day at 35, which I kind of missed actually. I definitely feel like I'm on my heels with this stock. I'm not able to be on the offensive, just more like defensive here because I pretty much missed a big trade. Will we keep going? The only thing I'm left with here is breakout trades, and for the breakout trade to work, the stock has to keep going. I'm on the sidelines for now, waiting. I don't think I'll trade this stock, honestly. I don't know. Um, it seems like for me, this stock needs a reset. Like we need a 5 minute pullback, and then a red to green again is like my best odd, my best chance, which I was hoping we would get right here. Turned out to be a quick red to green. I missed the move up, and these entries are just not going to be as good. So I'm thinking to shut it down. Red day recap here, down 500. I'm a little frustrated to be red today, but we took some good trades. This stock I'll keep an eye on, and if I see what I like, what I need, what I want, then I'll get involved. But if not, if it keeps like going up slowly like this, the breakouts are just a little too much risk because for every one time it goes, there's like 3, 4 times it's not going, and there's like a half cent loss for what would have been a 1 cent winner. It's like you could still be at a net negative, So yeah. Oh, what a nice day to be up some money. All right, for those of you going the distance, are we gonna see a 5 minute setup here? Hold up. Maybe there could be a setup coming. The stock is fairly extended, so it needs this type of a bigger dip. We went from 32 to 43 without a red candle on the 5. Yeah. I'll keep an eye on it, but I think I'm out of here. It's already a big bounce. It's like this is kind of not what I need, but the stock is doing its thing, right? For the people who caught the real setup here really was the ABCD. If you're watching the VWAP area at 10:27 a.m. At this time I'm still looking at the other stock. I needed to have seen this stock here at 10:27 a.m. for the break of 32. It pulled back nicely, held the view up, and then we had an extension with a nice red candle here early. This is an early pullback off the big breakout, which is a good dip for me to take, pattern wise. And the target would have been the retest of 35 and a breakout, which ended up happening here. So even if I caught this setup here, the first setup going up, I don't think I don't think I would have caught the second dip here. This one was just too tricky. I could have took 37, but 37 is so high. If we do retest the low of 35, the setup just didn't make enough sense for me. But the bottoming wick is what could have gotten traders in there. If you were aggressive enough to say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. Tighter stop maybe versus the lows, and then you got this extension, quick flag, more of an extension. But shutting it down. Wildcard Friday. Successful in the sense of following the rules, unsuccessful in the P&L, which is a little disappointing. So for those of you going till 5 p.m., I have a cold, so my voice is kind of raspy. But if you're going till 5 p.m., 4 p.m. at the close, stay disciplined. I'm out like south. I'll be around though in the chat room a little bit. Yeah, take care. Hit the thumbs up. Catch you guys on Monday. So not a great week here. We've had maybe our biggest red week in a while. We had a $1,200 loss, a $900 loss, a $500 winner, a $900 winner, which kind of brought us maybe a little close to flat, maybe like red 500, 600. And then now another $500 loss. Today is where we were looking to at least get back flat on the week or green, but instead there's a losing day here. So I think if I had to, the math, probably down like 1K minimum. The good news is that we're trading very small still, but I think Monday, Tuesday, we kind of let things get a little too out of hand. On both those days, we kind of kept going when we were already red like 400. Kind of pushed it a little too much. Monday, sizing up way too late in the day on the good opportunities versus, small size and good trades early. And that along with a lot of hesitation on hyper scalping stocks is what really got me early in the week. Not taking certain dip and rips, certain bottoming trades on resumptions, things like that. Just a little too much like lack of confidence in some of those areas. And then Tuesday, I kind of got on a call with another trader and kind of kept trading, which I shouldn't have done either. So, you have to look at yourself. Can't blame anyone else. I knew I was at a max loss of like 450 and I doubled it to 900, which was a little uncalled for on that particular day. So, not a good week. Not a good week. Monday, next week, we got to make sure we set the tone. We need days like this to like every day in terms of like how we manage the risk and how we followed our rules. Like Monday, Tuesday was a little too much like outside of that in terms of the mindset not being in the right place. Like too many variables that we could control, we didn't control. Even on a day like today where I'm not where I would want to be P&L wise, it's still a pretty sound day relative to those days where I'm like more of a loose cannon, like not in the right mindset and just way too much nonsense. So next week we're gonna keep at it and we're gonna keep working on being in with size early in the better setups. So with that being said, hit the thumbs up and I'll catch you guys on Monday. Stay safe, stay green.